Hello there, and welcome to today's edition of our Wellness Reframe. So today we are going to talk about magnesium. This is something that you don't hear too many people shouting from the rooftop, but in my opinion, it is a quietly foundational nutrient that our body really needs. From the functional perspective, we're going to look at it and talk about signs of deficiency, why we're depleted, some food sources where we can build that back up, and then also supplementation. So I actually brought myself some notes today. So where are we going to start? Let's talk about all the different functions that magnesium is involved in or supports in our body. There are actually around 300 different biochemical reactions within our body that require magnesium in some capacity to function properly. That's a big list. So I'm not going to read you 300 functions, but I will read a few of them. So nervous system regulation, that's a big deal. Stress response, our sleep quality, that's my big one. Muscle function, blood sugar regulation, energy production, our hormone balance, our heart rhythm, pretty important stuff. Bowel function, everybody likes to talk about that. And regulating inflammation, that one is huge for a lot of people, right? That buildup of inflammation in our body can be that silent push towards something that we don't want. So we want every opportunity for our body to be able to regulate that. And then the last one is activation of vitamin D. Vitamin D is involved in, 900 plus functions in the body. And without magnesium, the vitamin D doesn't function like it should. So it's not a trendy wellness hack, magnesium. It's just a mineral that your body literally depends on to function well. So let's see here. There are somewhere around 50% of Americans that are deficient in magnesium. Even if you go to the doctor and get a standard blood panel, oftentimes they'll tell you that your numbers are normal, but normal is based on ranges of the population in your area. And if we're all depleted, then normal is depleted. So that's not necessarily optimal. So if you have a recent blood work result that you can look at, typically it will show that normal is 1.7 to 2.2. But from a functional medicine lens, when you're talking about optimal numbers, you would like to see that number between 2.0 up to 2.3, 2.4. And that gives your body lots of magnesium to do all the things that it wants to do. So that's first. So let's talk about why we are all so low on magnesium. So the first thing that comes to mind is going to be soil quality. Like over the years of monocropping, we've basically trashed out all the soil, and all of our food is very depleted in minerals in comparison to the things that our grandparents ate. So that's the first piece. The second piece is chronic stress. When you have stress, it uses magnesium. And when you have low magnesium, you feel more stressed. And so it's kind of this vicious cycle that feeds itself. So you definitely want to maintain some good magnesium levels, especially if you're doing something stressful. Highly processed foods. Standard American diet, right? Sad. It is sad. It's a standard American diet. All these things that are made into powders and potions and taking food apart to extract bits and pieces and create it into something else that we're calling food is stuff that we probably shouldn't even be eating, but it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So it gets into most of our diets, at least in some capacity, and it depletes magnesium. Poor gut health. That's another one, right? So if you have irritable bowel syndrome, if you have low stomach acid issues, if you have a bout of diarrhea even, it can deplete your magnesium. It actually impairs your gut's ability to absorb the magnesium that you do take in. It doesn't just flush it out of your body, but it makes it where your body doesn't uptake the magnesium that you're giving it, okay? And then also certain medications, not all, but some antibiotics, some diuretics, some of the, what do they call them, like the acid reducers, like Pepsid, that type of medication, some birth control, and some blood sugar medications can all have an impact on depletion of your magnesium. Last but not least, alcohol and sugar. Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about health, I'm probably not going to say nice things about alcohol and sugar. It's just what it is. Sorry. Okay, so if you have low magnesium, what might you experience? What could be some of the signs and symptoms of low magnesium? It's a big list. Poor sleep, anxiety, irritability, muscle cramps. That's usually my first signal that I'm not doing the right things. Eyelid twitching. Have you ever had that? Where your eyelid just does this weird little muscle spasm thing? Magnesium. Headaches, migraines, constipation, fatigue, low energy, heart palpitations. That's another one that I've had. Brain fog, restless leg, tight muscles, increased stress sensitivity. So I kind of already touched on that, right? It's the vicious cycle. Stress depletes the magnesium. Low magnesium makes you feel more stressed. So all that. And then, of course, if you're stressed, you're going to have difficulty relaxing. So sometimes the body kind of whispers before it screams, and magnesium is definitely one of those that does that. It will just kind of creep in on you without you realizing it, but if you're paying attention, it does give us some signals. Okay, so again, on the blood work, there's a difference between normal and optimal. So if you have recent blood work, check it out, see where you're at. Magnesium is huge in nervous system regulation, and what I mean by that is that it helps your body flip out of the stress response and allows you to relax. It calms the nervous system and gets that, it supports parasympathetic nervous system state. Okay, so it regulates your stress hormones, helps you relax your muscles, and helps you get a deeper, more restful sleep. So it helps you shift out of survival mode, basically. That's what I'm saying. All right, so I would always lean toward food first. If you're going to try to work on, levels of anything in your body, you want to lean into food first, if at all possible. So where do we get magnesium from our food? Probably the things that none of us eat enough of. If we're mostly low on magnesium, that would stand to reason, would it not? So pumpkin seeds, seeds and nuts as a general statement, okay? So pumpkin seeds, almonds, cashews, leafy greens, spinach, kale, dark chocolate. Hey, there's a winner. Now, I'm not talking about a Hershey bar, not milk chocolate. I'm talking about dark chocolate, the kind where it's a little bitter, or sometimes a lot bitter when you eat it. You're probably not going to eat a whole bar of dark chocolate. So if you get let's say an 80% cacao dark chocolate bar, and you eat 1 ounce of that, you're going to get somewhere in the neighborhood of 65 milligrams of magnesium. That's pretty substantial, and you get to eat chocolate. I mean, come on. Salmon, bananas, some legumes like lentils, black beans also have good magnesium levels in them. So there's lots of foods that we can add in, and you don't have to just totally uproot your entire way of eating. Just add things in, right? Nature has packed magnesium into many of the foods that we have available to us every day. We just have to choose them. Okay, so let's talk about supplements. I'm not going to sell you any supplements, but I am going to tell you that some people do benefit from a supplement. I personally take a supplement. I take magnesium every night, about 30 to 60 minutes before bed, just like we've talked about, to help relax the nervous system, help relax your muscles, help you slip into a deeper sleep. I would say if you're going to do that, make sure that you're looking at magnesium glycinate. Okay, there's multiple different forms of magnesium. They all function just a little differently in the body. Look for magnesium glycinate if you're going to take it at bedtime. It is very calming. It does help relax the nervous system, provide sleep support, and it is often the easiest one on your digestive system. I don't know if you guys are seeing these hummingbirds flying over my head, but sorry if that's distracting. I think it's really cool. Anyway, magnesium glycinate. And I would say 200 to 400 milligrams about 30 to 60 minutes before bed is ideal. Magnesium is not something you want to mega dose on, okay? Don't be taking 1,000 milligrams every day. Don't do that, okay? Just, your body benefits most from consistency. So find something good, do it consistently, your body will reward you, okay? It heals in safety. When it feels like it's going to get what it needs consistently, then it relaxes. It'll go into healing mode. Okay, I digress. Okay, supplements. So, the different forms of magnesium that you may find when you're looking at supplementing magnesium. So, magnesium glycinate, I just went through that. The second one is magnesium citrate, and it helps constipation and causes loose stools. I'm sure you've heard of milk of magnesia. That's magnesium. Be careful with that one. If you buy a supplement and you accidentally buy this and you take enough of it and don't realize what you've taken, it could result in disaster pants. Okay, so just magnesium citrate is not the one you want to take before you go to work. Okay. Magnesium threonate, that's one that you rarely find, and it actually does cross the blood-brain barrier and is discussed for cognitive support oftentimes. I don't know that I have ever seen it in a store where you can just walk in and buy a bottle of it. I think you would have to order that. And then the last one is magnesium malate, and that one's often put into supplements that are, or maybe even like powders that you maybe would buy for like weightlifting type of application. Okay, magnesium glycinate, that's my recommendation. I say 30 to 60 minutes before bed, 200 to 400 milligrams, perfect for a daily supplementation. That's not mega dosing, and it's enough to help you calm, relax, and slip into a nice easy sleep. So again, consistency. Even if you take it every other day, your body can see that as consistency, and you just don't need a mega dose on magnesium, especially if you can put some of these foods into rotation and get the benefit that way. Okay, so I guess that's really about it. Yeah, so magnesium. This whole podcast, YouTube, whatever the hell this is, this whole thing that I'm doing is really about reminding people that you have more power than you've been led to believe. So for whatever reason, over the years, everything's been monetized, commercialized, mass production, leaning, and we've kind of been convinced that every solution is something we have to get from outside of ourselves, right? You have to go to the doctor to get the answer. You have to buy this to fix this problem. You have to, download this app for somebody to tell you how to do whatever. Not with your health, okay? Your body is amazing. And if you give it the right support, you'll surprise yourself how awesome things can become and how quickly these changes can happen, okay? So you're not broken. It doesn't need fixed. Maybe it's just asking for something a little different. Maybe it's just a little bit depleted on something, but you've got this, okay? I'm here to support with love and good energy. I totally know that you have the power within you to make awesome changes in your life. So make sure that you hit the like button, subscribe, and send it to all your friends, because this is really good information that so many people need. So until next time, see you.